This is the Peregrine 13 and this is the Xodus Ultra 2. Two trail running shoes from the Saucony brand and two models of trail shoe that I really enjoy running in. I suppose the big question is, which do I prefer and which one do I think performs better out on the trails? Well, there's only one way to find out. Fight! Well, okay, maybe not, and I dare say a lot of you outside the UK are probably thinking, what's Lloyd going on about? Well, that's a reference to a very funny British comedian called Harry Hill. If you've never heard of him before, definitely worth a Google, but obviously we can't have a fight because these are just trail running shoes, but we can bring you a good old-fashioned run for adventure head-to-head video. So let's dive in and find out which shoe comes out on top. Welcome back and thanks for joining us for another video. I'm Lloyd Purvis and this is Run for Adventure. Now I know you guys love a comparison video and I think this is one that a lot of you have been waiting for some time. But before we get stuck in, don't forget, if you are enjoying the channel, you're finding the content helpful, but you haven't yet subscribed, then it would be awesome if you do. Only takes a second to do just by clicking on that little red subscribe box down in the corner, and it is completely free, but it is a massive help. While you're there, don't forget to hit that bell icon as well, because then you'll be notified when we upload any new exciting running videos. First up, both trail running shoes have been produced by running brand Saucony, and there's actually quite a lot of similarities that cross over between the two models, especially now that the Peregrine has just had a big update with the 13s. Saucony have actually added an extra 1.5mm of cushioning to that midsole. So we're going to give you a few facts and figures about the two shoes, and we're going to start off with price first. So the more affordable option out of the two is the Peregrine 13, retailing here in the UK for £130, whereas the Xodus Ultra 2 is slightly more expensive at £145. I've got both shoes in a UK 9.5, so let's talk about weight. And the heavier of the two shoes is the Xodus Ultra, but it is very, very slight. So these actually weigh in at 302 grams, whereas the Peregrines this time round have been on a bit of a diet, so they've shed a few pounds. So it comes in at a pretty light 290 grams. Like I said, both shoes are a UK 9.5. There's only 2mm difference when it comes to the heel offset. So the Xodus Ultra runs off a 6mm drop, whereas the Peregrines have a slightly lower 4mm heel offset. So not really any sort of difference that you're going to notice while you're out there running on the trails. Like I've already mentioned, Saucony have added a bit of extra soft stuff this time round to the Peregrine. So you now get a midsole stack height of 28mm under your heel and 24mm under your forefoot. Whereas the Xodus Ultra has a deeper level of cushioning, so we've actually got a stack height on the heel of 32.5 and 26.5 under your forefoot. So not a massive difference when it comes to the stack height, but there is a very different midsole construction going on when we take a closer look at both shoes. Starting off with the Peregrine, and you get a full power run midsole setup, which I actually think offers a pretty good level of cushioning in the 13s, especially when you compare it to the previous Peregrine 12s, which were definitely a bit more stripped back on the cushioning front. I also think that Saucony have maybe tweaked that blend of power run, because it definitely feels a bit softer underfoot these days, whereas the Xodus Ultra 2s have that very clever dual compound setup, and by that I mean inside that midsole we've got a core of their performance-based cushioning Power Run PB, which the brand actually use in their performance road shoes, the Endorphin lineup with the Endorphin Pro and the Endorphin Speed. Offers a really good level of cushioning, but also high levels of energy return, and I personally think that makes the midsole of the Xodus 2 feel a little bit bouncier, a little bit plusher underfoot, but also maybe a little bit more efficient over distance. And then wrapping around that Power Run PB core, we've got the same Power Run cushioning that you get on the Peregrine, and that's kind of wrapping around that shoe as a cradle, which is going to offer the runner a bit more durability, but also stability when you're running on more sort of technical, challenging trails. So you can see there is quite a few different things going on when we look at that midsole construction, and I personally think that this is the thing that stands these two Saucony trail running shoes apart when it comes down to performance. Moving down to the all-important outsole, and there's also quite a lot of features that cross over between the two shoes here. So both of them use the very sticky Power Track rubber from Saucony, and they've also both got that great flexible rock plate worked into that midsole construction under the forefoot to offer you a better level of underfoot protection if you're running on rocky trails. And we've got a very similar lug design. However, the Peregrine does come with a slightly deeper lug depth of 5mm compared to the 4.5mm on the Xodus Ultra 2. So the Peregrines are going to give you maybe a little bit more traction if you're running on wet, muddy trails. But to be honest, I've found the performance of both outsoles on both shoes pretty good up till now. And last but not least, let's take a closer look at the upper construction. And again, there's quite a few things that vary here. There's different things going on when it comes to the fabrics used, the overlays, the design of the tongue, and so on. So first up with the Xodus Ultra, and they've gone with this engineered mesh that has a slightly closer weave on it. And then we've got these big perforations worked into the midfoot of that upper, just to increase airflow to help with breathability. And then on the Peregrine, we get this slightly lighter, more breathable engineered mesh fabric being used. Although to be fair, I've actually found breathability pretty good on both uppers. We have a very similar gusseted tongue design on both shoes, which actually carries a very similar level of padding. However, you do get a slightly higher level of padding around the ankle collar and in the heel on the Xodus Ultra 2. And we've got this elasticated sort of debris shield stretching across the midfoot there. That's just there to help keep out any unwanted sort of mud or grit. We don't want it getting inside the shoe and causing us any problems. Lacing system, again, almost identical. However, you do get 2 extra eyelets on the Xodus Ultra compared to 1 on the Peregrine, and they're there just to offer you a few more options when it comes to personalization on fit and lockdown. Speaking of fit, and I think it is slightly different between the two shoes. However, when it comes down to length, I think they're exactly the same. So I've got a UK 9.5 in both, and it gives me exactly the same length in the toe box. But when it comes down to width, I think the Peregrine 13 does give you a bit more of a precise feel and fit, so definitely work better for a narrower foot shape, giving you a bit more lockdown, a bit more of a fitted feel around the midfoot, and definitely less width in the toe. Whereas the Xodus definitely has a bit more volume at the midfoot and a bit more volume and width in the toe box. I actually like the fit and feel of both uppers, even though they do fit slightly differently. And I would actually say neither of them are wide-fitting trail running shoes. But if you do prefer that sort of precise precision feel to your trail running shoes, then these would definitely be the ones to go for. However, if you want a bit more wiggle room in the toe and a slightly plusher feeling upper, then maybe the Xodus Ultra 2 is the one for you. So that is the midsole, the upper, and the all-important outsole performance talked about. So I guess that just leaves performance. Now, this is where it gets quite tricky for me to separate these two trail running shoes, because I really do enjoy spending time on the trails in both of them in equal measures. Before the updates, it was actually a lot easier for me to pick between the Peregrine 12s and the original Xodus Ultra, because I just thought the Xodus was a much more comfortable shoe, especially over longer distance. So that made it a lot more versatile for my use. Whereas now, Saucony have added that bit of extra cushioning to that midsole, and this upper really does fit my foot shape like a glove. So it's a lot trickier for me to pick a favourite. I really like that sort of dialed in, connected feel I get when I'm running in these, and it's one of those trail shoes, when I put it on, I just get that feeling of confidence, and no matter how technical the trails are going to be or how quick I'm going to be moving over them, I feel like I'm going to be safe running in this shoe. We've also got that slightly deeper lug depth of 5mm compared to the Xodus Ultra's 4.5, so it's going to give you all that grip and traction when needed. And definitely now with that update, the new Peregrine can handle distance a lot better than the previous version, the Peregrine 12s. And we mustn't forget, you also get that brilliant Power Run Plus insole in these. So when you add all those things together, it leaves you with a very comfortable pair of trail running shoes. However, moving on to the Xodus Ultra 2, and again, the upper seems to work really well for my foot shape. I've found the shoe very comfortable, even when I'm running long distances. We've obviously got that little bit of extra volume and width in the toe box, which is a good thing to have. It allows your feet to expand if you are running a long way. And fun fact, the Xodus has never caused me one hot spot or 1 blister, which is pretty amazing because I've used the Xodus model for long challenging training runs. They never came off my feet the whole way at TDS at the UTMB. I've worn them for the Hurtwood 50k and for half of the Arc of Attrition, and it's still yet to cause me a problem. So like I've already mentioned, I do enjoy running in both shoes, but I am a real big fan of this dual compound setup on the midsole. I think having that internal core of Power Run PB makes all the difference to me when it comes to comfort, energy return and performance. It just feels like it offers a little bit more bounce, a bit more comfort, but also slightly more efficient over distance, but remaining nice and stable, allowing you to tackle technical trails with ease. I also like the fact that that Power Run PB seems to be a super durable foam cushioning, and it never seems to flatten out. I've actually run over 400 miles in my original Xodus Ultras, and they are still going strong, and there's still lots of miles left in that midsole. So if someone held a gun to my head and asked me to choose between the Peregrine 13s and the Xodus Ultra 2, I would have to go for these because I personally think that it's a slightly more versatile trail running option for me, and I just love the performance and feel of that midsole. So wrapping up with a quick conclusion, and I personally think that they're both great trail running shoes from the Saucony brand, and they continue to impress me with the new models and the updates that they're bringing out in 2023, and I'd be happy to run in either of those shoes, no problems at all. I think the Peregrine 13 is a great shoe for those quicker, shorter runs where you want to feel light on your feet and nimble when you're moving quickly over technical terrain. Don't get me wrong, it can still handle longer distances with those updates to the midsole, and I would happily run this shoe now up to 50 miles, 100k, and I don't think I'd have any problems at all. However, when it comes to my history with the Xodus franchise, the fact that it's never let me down, it's never caused me any problems no matter how far I've tried to run in this shoe, it has to be the trail pick for me. So that brings another head-to-head video to a conclusion, and I know there's quite a few viewers out there waiting for this video to drop, so really hope you've enjoyed it, really hope you found it helpful. Don't forget, if you are enjoying the content on the channel and you want to show your support, you can do so by picking up some really cool Run for Adventure merchandise from runforadventure.uk, or you could support us through our Patreon page for as little as £2 a month. Not only does it really help us keep the lights on and the cameras rolling, but it also opens up a world of Run for Adventure perks, including exclusive content and discount codes to our merch store, plus lots more. So I'll leave a link in the description in case you want to take a closer look. But for now, guys, thanks for watching, thanks for supporting the channel, it is always appreciated. We'll be back here very soon, and as always, stay safe and keep on running.
Well, tomorrow night sees the release of the new Harry Potter film. Now, I'm not sure about Harry Potter myself. See, in my day, you wanted someone who could solve supernatural conundra. You had Doctor Who, didn't you? Well, who's better, Harry Potter or Doctor Who? There's only one way to find out. Fight! We'll be back after the break.